The Vietnam War was a long time ago, painful chapter in our history, but some 20 years now, some veterans have raised money and made trips to Vietnam to help the children there. Please welcome Roland Southard and John Abbey. So you've raised a lot of money for the projects and you fly to Southeast Asia on a regular basis. Roland, tell me the origin of the D.O.V.E. Fund. It's now about 20 years?
In 1999, Marcy Kaptur was conducting a discussion with a bunch of veterans and Rotarians here in the local area, and talking about the condition that Vietnam was left after the conflict. By June of 2020, the D.O.V.E. Fund was established, and at that time they decided to go over and build their first school. It was $5,000 for a single room school, and that was the groundbreaking of the D.O.V.E. Fund and their involvement in Vietnam, starting off with just that first little school.
John, in 20 years, I've been to your fundraiser last August, and it just boggles my mind about how generous people are, because this is something that it's different than most charities. Yes, you're helping children, but we kind of feel a little bit of maybe a debt for healing ourselves, but also to repair a country that we basically destroyed during a war that was a civil war that we got into. What's your feeling about being involved with it and how it's going?
Well, I had the privilege of joining the D.O.V.E. Fund in 2005, so I've got about 18 years of experience with these folks. And what it's done for me is afforded an opportunity for me to look at clearly and with great honesty what occurred in Vietnam and how and why we were there. And then I'm left with, where do I go today? I was fortunate to meet my friends in 2005. They welcomed me with open arms, and it's been a joyous experience to be able to help people who don't have the means themselves and are so deserving.
The healing and going on honor flights, there's a lot of healing going on with these guys. And you're in that generation too. They were not treated well when they came home. And going to D.C., seeing the memorials and being thanked for their service and being just like treated like kings all day long, it really helps a lot of these veterans. I think this is very similar to that, in that if there's a hole in there from your service and it wasn't appreciated, to be able to go there and go back in peacetime and see the need that still is on. What kind of, give me your perspective on that issue as well. Do you kind of feel like the first time you went to Vietnam had to be very difficult for you?
Well, I joined the Army at 17, was in Vietnam at 18. Like many, it wasn't that unusual. And I spent a little over a year there. And there's never really been a time since then that I've forgiven myself for things that I could have or should have done along the way. Wars like that. And what I experienced in returning to Vietnam is the Vietnamese people accepted me warmly and lovingly, and they've forgiven me. And when your enemy forgives you, you have a much more difficult time not forgiving yourself.
That's
so
beautiful.
I'm working on that.
That's beautiful.
Working on that.
Roland, so tell me about what different projects you have done in the past. Just some wonderful things, not just building schools, but also water purification, solar lighting for villages, things like that.
The solar light was a big hit a couple of years ago. We're still doing it. I think we've done like 600 in-home units. It's a solar panel that goes on the roof of their house and gives them a couple lights with 12 hours of light power when the sun goes down, so the students can continue to study. And they can charge their cell phones off of these solar panels, which was a big help for them to keep the communications that they didn't have before that. We've done a lot of projects with the blind. There is a lot of blind. Some of it is traced back to the war, but the people making the blind are making brooms, they're doing incense. We've made massage centers for them and taught them how to do massages and things like that, which is actually an income source now for them after they've been able to step out. The schools are a big thing, from daycare, kindergarten, all the way through college. We give scholarships. We do 330 scholarships per year. Education used to be tuition-based after 5th grade. And about 3 or 4 years ago, they changed it to tuition-based after 9th grade. So we've restructured our scholarship program, but we still have high school scholarships and college scholarships, which we give out every year.
How much money have you guys raised over the years? We're running out of time here, but.
Sure. I think we're somewhere over $4 million we've raised in the 23.
In 23 years.
Yeah, and I think it's important to say we've spent that very responsibly. We have very low overhead, and the intended cause are the children, primarily in Vietnam, and that's where the money goes.
We'll have you guys back again. I'd like to talk to you more about the Dove Fund and all the great things you do, and more about how the government treats you. But we are out of time, so that'll wrap it up. Thanks, John. Thank you, Roland, for coming in today.